There are many themes running through the Yosef narrative. Much of it, unfortunately, is negative. The hurt that comes from what seems to be bad parenting, sibling rivalry and jealousy, and so forth. And also some positive themes, such as the actions of Reuven and Yehuda in standing up against a mob mentality bent on wrongdoing. To me, the Yosef narrative is one of my favorites, in that it sets out a script with respect to the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and man, more so than any other segment of the Tanakh. For those who retain a belief in a God who interacts with the world, one of the side benefits of this belief is that it provides tools for coping with trauma that invariably happens to majority of the people sometime throughout their lives. And in this complex world in which we live, research has shown that a secure attachment to a God and a positive religious coping style is positively correlated with stress-related growth and, most importantly, a developed sense of meaning in one's day-to-day activities. In contrast, anxious and avoidant attachments to God resulted in depression, traumatic distress, and separation distress. Within the Jewish world, a classic example is the ability of halachically practicing Jews to move on and create new lives. Not all, but most. In contrast to those who remain stuck in the past as victims of German atrocities. Irrespective as to whether one believes in the existence of a God or whether God is a man-made construct is irrelevant. For the individual faced with trauma, a solution needs to be found. And this message comes through loud and clear in the Yosef narrative. Firstly, on the part of Yaakov in dealing with the negative side of the return of Yosef, namely the potential anger he would harbor against the brothers for their involvement and cover-up of the sale of Yosef, and also why Yosef did not at least make an attempt to let him know that he was still alive. Similarly, with respect to Yosef, one would not be surprised that now that he had the power, revenge would be the path that he would take. The Chumash presents us with an alternative script, one which involves a God that has a master plan for the world, and the knowledge that events that take place, both positive and negative, fit into this master plan. When he finally reveals his identity to the brothers, his opening words are that of reassurance. Al ti'atzvu. Do not be sad and traumatized. Val yicha beinechem. Don't become angry at yourselves ki mechartem oti heina, that you have sold me, because ki lemichya shalachani elokim lifnechem. You were merely tools in part of God's master plan, that I should be sent into Egypt, rise to a position of power in order to lemichya, to keep you alive throughout the intense famine that was raging in Canaan. And he continues to hammer this message home. Vayishlacheni Elokim lifnechem. God was the one who sent me ahead of you in time to keep you alive. And the third time, Lo atem shalachtem oti. You were not the ones who sent me into Egypt. You were merely tools in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You were playing out God's master plan. This HASHKAFA concept has a twofold benefit. Firstly, in the times of trauma is a belief, a coping mechanism, that there is a purpose that underpins negative events in our lives. And secondly, as with the case of Yosef, in mitigating the need to take out one's desire to retaliate against those who had done us wrong. Similarly, with respect to his father, he attempted to avert the anger he may harbor against the siblings and also possibly against Yosef himself, when in Pasuk 9 he tells the brothers, Maharu, hurry, quickly, return back to my father and tell him the following. Samni Elokim la'adon l'chol Mitzrayim. Not I have become a ruler in the land of Egypt, but God has facilitated my rise to power in this country. And therefore there was no point in expressing your anger against the siblings. They were mere tools. And secondly, in hindsight, I was playing out a master plan, the vision of the sun and the moon, along with the 11 stars, who would recognize my leadership and contribution in carrying out an even larger master plan, that of the Brit Ben HaBetarim. This was the message that Yosef conveyed to Yaakov his father through the brothers, and according to the Rebbe's understanding of Rashi's second option, was the symbolic message with his sending along the Grisin shall pull the split beans.